Well, hello! Welcome to the Kingsway Podcast. So excited you're here. We have a fantastic episode planned for you today. We'll see if it turns into one or two, mainly by the forcefulness of our debate.
Yeah. Has nothing to do with technology.
It has nothing to do with technology. I know that for some of you tune into this podcast because you love to learn about some things following Jesus and learning about some new ways to maybe learn and grow in your relationship for life. I can't completely say that what we're going to talk about over the next two episodes lines up with that part of the vision of this podcast. However, I can say that today will be informative.
Yeah.
And I can say that today will be fun. And we will learn. Mainly them two will learn what they need to know.
And it begins.
We already don't like it.
We are doing our top 10 movies of all time. Each of us have prepared our lists. Each of us have come up with what we believe in our personal opinions are things that we've seen. We have not seen all movies yet, and we will give our top 10. I know that I just want to give a personal, kind of a verbatim, that follow the ratings of the movies that we are watching. Look at the content of them and make your own decisions on whether or not you need to pursue these movies. So I'll just make that personal little thing there. But we're going to start with just a few honorable mentions. All right. Not getting to the list yet. We want a full brawl. But let's just go. Yeah, this could be just.
So do we need to iron out any ground rules first so they can know where
ground rules
from?
Are this: you can only put one series in your top 10, but you can quote or have another series in your top 10. It just cannot be the full series.
Yeah,
if that makes sense. So that means if you let's just say you chose to put all the Harry Potter movies as a whole, then you would choose to have to leave the Star Wars or the Lord of the Rings. Or any of the other series. As a series.
You could still put Empire Strikes Back in there.
You could choose to put an individual movie, but you can't just throw all of them together. Okay, so you get one series.
And when you choose a series, you have to designate a favorite from the series.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's how I did it.
I like that. I like that a lot. And then the other side of it, too, is this is not saying that the movies you're picking are the best of all time as a whole. This is just your personal 10.
Okay.
And so that means that if you're wrong, you as a person are just not that valuable.
That's
are
exactly right.
Completely devalued as a person. No pressure. Also, what I want to make and clarify, if we miss movies that we need to know, you need to put those in the comments.
Put them in the comments.
And honorable mentions, maybe even put your own top 10 list. I will tell you this.
I'd like to see a list.
I would love to see a list. This is way harder than I thought.
Tough. Yeah.
Jed originally put this out, and John was there when we were talking about it, and then we were like, oh yeah, let's do it. And every day this got closer, it got harder because I kept looking at lists of things, and then I kept...
Yeah,
and then
I tried to do this with my wife.
It's so hard.
It just struggled. So, honorable mention. I don't have a limit to this. I think you can throw out a few.
Done, yeah.
You know what I mean? I really don't have a limit. But if you just come up with quick, let's just popcorn this. Let's just popcorn this. Honorable mentions. What are on your list?
Honorable mention.
I have one that was on the chopping block between another one that I'll mention. But it was the Aladdin, the animated movie.
The animated, the original.
Yeah, not the new one.
Yeah, not
one of my
new crappy ones.
Yeah,
the money grabs that are the live actions.
Didn't make the top 10. It was close.
It's true. It's true. Copyright grabs. Okay, so you know what? I can quote that whole movie.
I can too.
That's why I totally understand that. I totally understand. Did you see that at all, Jed? Did you?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
The animated, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So some people I think grew up with Disney movies in their home, and some people didn't.
Yeah, we did.
And,
we had the stack of the really thick cased VHSs.
Yep. We had Return to Far. We had all the crappy ones too. So
the third and fourth movies that came after. Yeah.
The one where the genie turns into almost the brightest blue, and the characters that play him get even crazier and crazier. Yeah. You're who is playing this genie? Okay. Honorable mention. Good.
Oh man. See, I didn't bring my list with me. I just took a picture. That was dumb. Let me think.
Do you want me to throw a couple out here? Let me throw a couple out here. All right. These are honorable mentions that were close. Tombstone.
Oh, that's so good.
Gladiator.
Overrated.
Indiana Jones series.
Ooh.
Yeah, that
was Good Will Hunting.
Okay.
Inception.
Ooh. That one was.
I knew that was good.
I had to choose a different Nolan. I didn't want to just populate my list with Nolan.
I know, bro. It's so hard. And so that one did it. And then one that like I really wanted to put on the list, but I just couldn't find a place for it is a literal selfish pleasure. It is Sahara.
Oh my gosh!
If
that would have been on your top 10.
We love that movie, but I could not do it.
Nobody would listen to your sermons ever again if that was on your top 10.
I knew it.
Like this man has the worst judgment.
I don't. You probably haven't even. Have you seen it? It's
Steve Zahn and Matthew McConaughey.
McConaughey.
I've seen it.
As B film as they get, and I don't know why I attach myself to it. Maybe it's because
It's like The Mummy in my mind.
I am a Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah.
It's like that level of movie.
All right. You know, all right. I had a couple more. I don't want to ruin my entire list. Matrix. That was the other
Matrix.
one. Didn't quite make the list. I really loved it, but didn't quite make the list.
Few I thought of while you were talking. Sci-fi film Upgrade was very good.
That's a more recent one too.
Yeah,
that was so
2018,
good.
I think.
The filming style,
so good,
so cool,
so good. Well, now I forgot all the other ones.
Pepsi, get with us. Hashtag ad.
Yeah, give us some money. Man. That might be the only honorable mention I can think of off the top of my head. No, I'd have to go with Get Out.
Get Out. I haven't seen that yet. I haven't watched
that one's
or
really good.
Parasite. Both of those.
I haven't seen Parasite yet, but I've heard it's also very good. But Get Out was really, really good. A little bit better than Us, if you ask me. But
yeah, I like all of the Midnight Shyamalan or whatever his name is, M. Night Shyamalan.
Get Out was Jordan Peele.
All the style of his movies, and then like the new Peele movies. I feel like he's got kind of that niche right now that everyone loves. That's what I equate him to. I'm like, M. Night Shyamalan had his little run there with Signs and Sixth Sense.
Signs almost made my top 10.
Did it? Did it almost?
Yeah. That was a nostalgia trip for me, though.
Yeah.
I'll still go back and watch that.
Do you know that came out on my 17th birthday?
Really?
I saw that with my girlfriend on 17th. Yeah.
As I was doing this, I ran across Signs a lot because it was considered one of the worst ending movies.
See, that's what people say all the time. I love every piece of that movie.
Swing away, man.
So good. Love that call.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, that whole but that was when M. Night was starting to be we could go down.
I would say most people call that the beginning of his downhill curve,
because then you had The Following and just a bunch of the ones that came after that.
He had after Signs, I think, was The Village, which again is another nostalgia trip for me.
Yeah. Dude, the music in that movie is so good. Oh yeah. Anyway, see, we could talk about these forever.
This will be a long one. It'll be a long one, or a long two. We'll see.
Okay, so you only had one nostalgia. You have any other ad?
To me, I had Anchorman on there.
Anchorman, gosh, it's such a quotable movie.
I know. It was like
Milk is a bad choice.
Well, I had like my comedy movie that was in there, and it was between that and another one.
I get it.
I watched that one a lot.
This is going to escalate quickly. I know.
That's Casey Motion.
Baxter! Burrito!
That's why it's on there.
It is very quotable. We talked about it. It's very quotable. It is a quotable movie for sure. And I'm glad it did make your top 10 because, anyway, this is going to be so much fun. All right. Let's try to do this well.
How are we going to do this?
Number 10.
Oh, are we just going to all share
10? We'll start with 10. What is your number 10 best movie of all time?
Okay, not best movie of all time. My number 10 is not the best movie of all time.
This,
again, we're clarifying this is our list.
Yes,
our list, and we'll have our reasons.
Our list. Okay. Do you want me to start? You got
your book ready.
You got to go start. You got to start it, bro.
It is Manchester by the Sea.
Okay. I haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it either.
Oh my gosh.
It's been on my list for like 3 years.
All right, let me just preface this. There may be some spoilers in this. So if you hear us bring up a title and you have not seen it and you're like, wow, fast forward a little bit. We'll try not to, but there will be a little bit of spoilers because I don't think we can justify some of our choices if we don't talk about some of the content. So if you're missing some of this, we'll post the lists maybe.
We could throw them in the bottom.
Throw them in the bottom. So that way if you're like, okay, I don't want to, I'll watch some of these before you watch the reviews. So Manchester by the Sea. One of the reasons why I love Manchester by the Sea is one of the categories of why I enjoy movies. It is acting and actresses. Okay. The actors and actresses in this, it is, oh gosh, why can I not remember his name?
Casey Affleck.
Casey Affleck. Thank you. I always want to say Ben, and I'm like, it's his little brother.
Impressive.
It's his little brother.
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
He won the Academy Award, or should have. But there is a scene between a divorced wife and a husband that have gone through just a horribly traumatic thing that might be the most honest and accurate scene I've ever seen in a movie. And that
didn't he win some awards?
Oh, that scene alone, the fracturing of a soul. It is the saddest movie I think I've ever seen. 100%. And I just have to tell you that flat out. And there is no ending that you're like, there's no rescuing from the movie. Like, there's not a place at the end you're like, oh, everything's going to be all right. Like, the movie is that sad. But the acting and the way that they just go after it and the screenplay and the script, it is so real. Anyway, it makes my top 10 because when I watched it, I went, I may not understand why the Mona Lisa is so incredibly important, but I see the value in it. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't want it on my wall, but I go, dang, that's really good. That's Manchester by the Sea. I couldn't leave it off the list because it was that good. Okay. So, if you hate sad movies, you don't watch it. Don't watch it. Okay. What's your guys' top 10? All right, that was my number 10.
Number 10. My number 10 was a comedy, and it's Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
Right.
So that goes back to growing up. I've seen the movie probably 100 times, and my cousin and I used to quote it. Like, even found friends in college that loved it, and it's just a movie that's kind of like stuck with me through life stages where it just finds common ground. And so
there was a place when I was a youth group in late high school that we watched it almost every weekend.
It's got everything
and
from
quoted
ridiculousness.
And I was even at the house this last week, and we were bring out your dad. And we were just.
So that was my number 10.
That's awesome. Well, if you've never seen a Monty Python movie, it is a great introduction to the Monty Python movies because there are several of them. It is by far just ingenuity. Like, the backstory, $100,000. They didn't have any money. These guys are coming up with
it's so deeper than the movie itself.
I would agree with you. I couldn't put it on the list just because of my criteria, but I don't think that's a bad choice.
Thank you.
So, and if I would say this, if you have a movie that we quote in a different place, I don't think it's bad to tell us that.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's like, if you're like, oh, that's my number 6 movie.
Right.
I don't think it's bad to say that and then go in with why you don't believe it's the number 10. It's number 6. But anyway. Yeah. So what's your number 10?
Number 10 is honestly a little bit of a guilty pleasure movie for me.
That's okay, Sahara. Go ahead.
My guilty pleasure made it on the 10. It's a movie. It's called Begin Again. And it's...
I've never seen it.
It's Mark Ruffalo and Keira Knightley. And it's, some people call it a rom-com. It's not, because, they don't end up together at the end.
Okay.
But basically it's
Spoiler.
Spoiler. Yeah. Keira Knightley, she's a musician. She's written songs. Adam Levine plays her boyfriend. He stole her songs.
I've seen this.
And is given this big record deal on her songs that she's written.
Yep.
And then cheats on her and leaves her. And
It
she's
sounds
stuck
like
in
a
New York by herself.
And she starts writing.
And she starts writing stuff. And then she meets up with Mark Ruffalo, he's like a disgraced record producer.
Mm-hmm.
And they decide to make this album recorded in different spots all over New York City, outside with ambient noises, people around.
This movie's coming back.
I love that. It is.
Jed, do you like music?
Sure. A little bit. Just a little bit.
Playing
just a little bit.
Creating it. That's dude, that's your
jam.
Jam, man.
That's
your
the thing.
Jam.
The music plays a character in the movie. It's not just a
soundtrack in the environments and creating it. Yeah, that's.
And it's it's the music is like their therapist, almost and so it's it's legitimately a character.
That makes so much sense to you and to me.
I don't know.
That's just going to be a little bit more divisive, and right now I'm agreeing too much. I'm not happy about it. Jed, why don't you start us with number 9?
Number 9.
We can get more
go back.
Okay, I went back to a movie called Chef.
Yeah, I enjoyed
seen
Chef.
that?
I have.
I love Chef. It's
You like
similar.
redemption stories.
A little bit.
You like redemption stories.
wonder
I'm
why.
starting to pick
I
up
wonder why
on
I'm in the industry.
I was going to say.
No, Chef is Jon Favreau, who is probably most famous for directing Iron Man.
Mm-hmm. And who's in Iron Man, right? Is he in Iron Man?
Robert Downey Jr.?
Yep.
He is in it, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought who was in
Yeah.
Iron Man is what I heard. No,
Yeah.
he is in it. He plays Happy Hogan,
Mm-hmm.
which RDJ is actually in Chef as well.
Mm-hmm.
But it's kind of Jon Favreau's like passion project, and he plays this chef who is like super bored with his menu that he has to create. It's basically like being told to play the same song over and over again or anything like that. And so he has a little bit of a meltdown and gets kicked out of his restaurant, and then kind of finds a little bit of redemption in a food truck and
It's
traveling all over the place.
It's a cool story.
It's a great movie. Again, he's just finding redemption in his work and reigniting his passion for making food that he loves.
Creating something.
And at the same time,
Mhm.
kind of rekindling relationship with his son, and they get to do the whole food truck thing together. And I
Can't wait to hear the
It's
rest
just
of your list because so far it's pretty interesting.
I'm already starting to feel the vibes of what you run
I
to,
know.
and I'm like, man, my list is just so our list. Like, my list is like, I'm like
I got a feeling I'm going to be like the average Joe, and you guys are like in these deep areas, and yeah, it's all right because I will defend.
All right, number 9.
My number 9 is Rocky 4.
Oh my
Rocky
gosh!
It's Rocky.
If he dies, he dies.
I've only seen Rocky 1 and Rocky Balboa.
Okay, so,
Oh
so Rocky 1 was on the fence with Rocky. So the Rocky series.
You
so.
are going to be the stereotypical American, and I flip and love it.
All right,
I flip and love it. So if he dies, he dies.
So Rocky 4, because it's probably the one I've watched the most. It's got the best montage. Been working out in the mountains in the snow, and then the fight at the end is it's so epic.
Who's the villain in that one?
It's the Russian, so it's
He's the
what's his name?
steroided Russian.
Dolph Lundgren.
Yeah. And so
It's so Siberia is where he's got a train. And
it's
course,
so good.
yeah.
He outruns
Adrian-
the Mercedes in the
dude.
snow. Runs to the top of
It's
the
like
mountain.
towing like a wagon.
Yeah.
Like pulls horses out of the snow.
It is the best Rocky movie in my opinion.
It's awesome. That the quote is when the Russian's interviewed, and he's like, "Aren't you afraid that you're gonna hurt him or kill him?" And he's like,
He
"If
dies.
he dies." And like just
Yeah.
like,
Yep.
And it was at the height of the Cold War and like all that stuff too.
There was just a lot
it
going
was
on, yeah.
It was like, America's better than Russia. Like that.
Of course, yeah.
My number 9, which that was a good choice. I'm not
Thank
gonna
you.
lie, that was a good choice.
Good
It's
movie.
very American of you, but it's a good.
It's a good movie. That's why it's on the list.
Number 9 is Open Range.
Yeah, that's a good one.
for me. And
I remember the last podcast.
yeah,
I don't know if you guys caught that, but when Judd said he didn't see
Yeah,
it, both
slow
Trevor and
rest.
I had like the synchronized. Oh,
it's probably the best Western that's been made in the modern era, because I think there's some really good
the
Westerns that have been
scattergun
made.
scene,
Like
oh my God, that was
Unforgiven
good.
and
Yeah.
even like
Not either.
Tombstone. It beat out Tombstone, which would have been the one
Yeah,
that I would have probably put in its place.
I'll be a Huckleberry.
It's dude, oh my gosh, bro, don't go down that road. I'm gonna quote about 40 times.
I know. We gotta keep our timing.
But Open Range is beautiful
Oh, yeah.
panoramic shots, incredibly slow.
I seen that in a
storytelling.
drive-in.
Yeah,
It was pretty awesome.
It's Kevin Costner. It is Dancing with Wolves a little bit faster and just really modern done, but also keeps the very, like, I think it keeps to an honest pacing of what a Western should be without bringing it into like the modern, like Fast and the Furious realm, where it lets it be slow and the characters grow and you kind of learn things without being told. It doesn't overtalk things. I just love that, where you kind of get the story through knowing the character and the things they go through, rather than like someone sitting down and going like, "Oh, you don't know who and who is? He back in the day did this, this, and this, and this." Wink at the camera and then move on to the next scene. Like, that's what I hate when stories do that. So that is my number 9. If you have not seen that, highly recommend it. It'd be a great quarantine movie. Quarantine movie. My number 8, keeping this flowing.
Go.
Keeping this flowing. Well, don't wanna do
Yeah, I
this.
don't want to.
Is going with, I think, one of my favorite actors of all time, but his movies didn't make a ton of my list, is Gran Torino.
I haven't seen that one either.
Oh,
That's a good one. I've seen it.
Gran Torino. And the reason I like Gran Torino is because I like redemption stories as well. And a great arc of a young boy in the movie that also in the midst is helping an older man played by Clint Eastwood redeem himself. Just incredibly well shot. Slow pacing with the same character development as kind of a Western, but done in kind of the inner slums of a city. And it's all about just this older man that is basically bitter and broken and just about ready to die, being kind of invaded by another group of people that are moving into his neighborhood that are of a different ethnicity. That he's
like the get off my lawn.
He is absolutely racist and has just a terrible character at the beginning of the movie and has just an awesome arc to redemption.
And you see him turn. Yeah,
it's definitely down your line of redemption stories.
All right.
You need that attitude.
And a lot of fun. And it's Clint Eastwood, and he wrote just a fantastic song in it as well called Gran Torino. So it'd be something that you would like. So that's my number 8.
Am I jumping to me?
Yes.
My number 8 is The Matrix. Numero uno, the first one.
Just the first one. Okay.
And so, just an awesome movie. I love Keanu Reeves in it. I love how it developed the characters.
Yep.
The whole idea of the Matrix and how they unwrapped that. They didn't just give it to you.
Dude, it broke so many boundaries. It was such a
cinematography,
good
the special
movie.
effects, the fighting.
It was one of those I wanted to put on the list so bad. It was so close.
It's up there. So it was number 8 for me.
Number 8.
Yeah.
Yeah, that the whole red blue pill, I mean,
Everything.
just everything about that. And then the moment when he came back out of the Matrix and was like in that giant like test tube style like thing, like that was that where you're like, everything's an illusion. Like, how do I know I'm real? Like,
and that was early enough for me to like, just started really getting into movies and stuff like that, and seeing twists like that in movies was kind of still fresh for me. So I just blew my socks off in so many ways.
I remember too, like just even on a spiritual side, it was a crazy thought to have like that, like what if, like what if there's more to this world than just, you know what I mean? And like just the thought of like spiritual at the time, I'm like, this is probably, and like they called things like Zion, you know what I mean? They just had a lot of biblical stuff in there that I'm just like, someone's interpretation, this is a little crazy.
Just a little bit wild.
Number 8. All right. How about you, Jay?
Number 8 for me was Stand By Me.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
That's a nostalgia right there.
Yeah, that's a nostalgia hit. I'm sure I saw it when I was a kid, but the first time I remember for sure watching it was just a few years ago. And I just love those, like, you get it now with like Stranger Things or like Super 8 or anything. Just like
Super
the coming
8's
of age, just like.
Yep. We actually mentioned
buddy
it
movies,
this weekend. We were out doing like exploring, or there was railroad tracks. And it feels like Stand By Me.
That scene. Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
I love it. When they come out of the creek and they got all the leeches all over them. Yeah. I love that movie.
You guys want to see a dead body?
Yeah. Just I don't know. I love that kind of like, coming of age with your buddies, and maybe I love how it leaves it kind of open ended too. Of like, I don't know if they're still buds or if they hung out, but they
No, I agree. I can't really argue a nostalgic touch like that too, especially when you grew up in a larger family and you had a lot of the sibling like that. That makes total sense to me.
I think this area we can relate. I mean, if we lived in like a bigger city, it'd be hard to kind of probably have that tug at your heartstrings.
And that's exactly
but where we live, it's just like, yep, that movie hits.
Yeah.
All right, number 7.
All right, number 7 for me was La La Land.
Man.
Yeah.
I like how you're almost like sad about it.
I was thinking about, I don't know. For me, man. So spoilers if you haven't seen it.
I guess you like music.
A little bit. No, I think it's funny because, obviously, like Ryan Gosling, I relate to his character and his passionate defense of jazz. I don't love jazz that much, but I know there are things that like I would do the same thing for. Like they're killing it, they're just murdering it in front of me, and I can't do anything about it. Like for sure. And then like I said, getting a little into spoilers if you haven't seen it, which I don't know how you haven't seen it yet, but
go watch it. It's a really
watch it.
It's a really good movie.
I love the ending of that movie.
I love it.
People hate it because they want the stereotypical romance
love the
ending where the two leads end up together. But, you know,
it's one of my favorite.
They
What
choose
has
their
happened.
exactly, yeah.
That little montage with like
I love it where you see what it could have been.
Yeah.
And it
If
shows
they-
their passions over each
man.
other, and dude,
I love it.
if I was to put, yeah, I love La La Land. I love La La Land a lot. So.
I'm like,
I know. I
It was
really feel
okay.
like there's two camps. It's either Greatest Showman or La La Land.
Yeah.
Those that like the Greatest
I
Showman,
like
like that. Then
Which same writers. I don't know if you knew that. The people who wrote the music for La La Land wrote it for different directors. But the guys who wrote the lyrics and a lot of the music for La La Land wrote it for Greatest Showman as well.
and that's fantastic. All right, number 7, John. Before we keep talking about
number 7 for me is Forrest Gump.
mm,
I like Forrest Gump a lot. Saw it at a young,
stupid is a student. I'm just kidding.
but it was high
You
on
just want to fight.
rewatch.
You
Yeah.
just want to fight.
Rewatchability was really high.
rewatchability
I've seen it
is.
a
I feel
lot.
like it's 3 movies, but yeah, keep
Yeah,
going.
it was good. Definitely, I like quotable movies. I find myself,
You do like quotable
yeah,
movies.
and
I was about to say that's a really quotable movie.
but I also like Tom Hanks a lot, and that's probably my favorite Tom Hanks film.
I love how it walks through history. I
Mhm.
do like how it walks through history. That is a fun, nostalgic thing. I
And
think
all
if I
the
was
friends, it's like all the friends he makes along the way,
Mhm. Oh, yeah.
and then he still
Lieutenant
keeps it.
Dan.
Yeah, and how innocent.
Oh,
His
the innocence
character
of
is-
his character keeps
that's-
him so pure.
Yeah, that's what I love.
Run! No, I can't argue with that choice.
Yeah.
It did make my top 10, obviously, but I can't argue with it.
Mhm.
It definitely just doesn't have the realism that hits home. Rewatchability, I definitely want to know where it's at anytime I see it. So I'm like, what part are they at? I definitely want to see that. But yeah, I can't argue with that.
Yep.
Number 7, is that where we're at?
That's where
You're
we're
on
at.
7, yeah.
No, I'm on.
Yeah, you're on 7.
No. I've already done 3.
Yeah,
So-
so you should be on 7.
Yeah, 10, 9, 8.
Oh, okay.
So 4th
I
from
don't
the
know why I
bottom.
can't count all of a sudden. It is Dark Knight.
That's
Mm.
that was on my list.
That one was significantly higher for me.
It is the only superhero movie on my list.
Well,
And
I'll jump to number 6 then after because that's number 6 on my list.
So I love The Dark Knight.
Yes.
It is by far the best superhero movie that's ever been made. And it might be the best acted superhero movie by far.
I don't know if there's a might be in that.
Yeah,
Like-
it legit. Well, I would say there's some offbeat that aren't Avengers ones
yeah.
that maybe could be argued for. Avengers won by far, but I think Avengers is what we all jump to, and I'm like,
Mhm.
oh yeah,
Mhm.
by far because Heath Ledger died so quickly afterwards. By the far because I feel like just where Christian Bale was at in his career, the direction of that movie,
It was casted like
But
I won't
even
lie.
that, like Christopher Nolan,
You-
just the way
yeah.
It's incredible.
it's his best
Yeah.
work. It really is. I love Inception. I love some, but it's so good. Where was it on your list?
Number 2.
Number 2.
that's
Gosh.
pretty high up there.
Yeah.
Well, I knew it would be high.
Number 6.
I really
I have one
enjoy-
other Nolan film on my
Okay,
list somewhere.
Oh, good. I want you to be able to talk about him because I
I'll-
do enjoy his opinion.
Yeah.
But the thing that makes it make my list very quickly is rewatchability.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
And then it's a time capsule for me. I literally remember watching it like where I was at.
Mhm.
It captured my imagination, even though I was in my early 20s. It made me like relive the Batman animated series and
Oh,
just
yeah.
all that stuff.
The music and
It's
yeah,
the movie that made me love comic book movies. Like I saw obviously like Spider-Man and Hulk and stuff before that, but none of them made me like go as deep into it as like if Dark Knight didn't exist, I wouldn't care.
Yeah.
Probably like
Yeah.
I wouldn't care about
That
that.
scene where the two fairies and they're making the choices, and the
Mhm.
Joker has pit
Yeah.
humanity against themselves. They have the
Mhm.
dogs up there. It's such a comic book moment.
Oh yeah.
He's fighting the guys that are dressed up like police officers, having to choose,
Mhm.
and he can't rescue anyone.
Yeah.
Harvey Dent is,
Yep.
it's just all of that
So
in that
good.
scene. Like that is the pinnacle of.
I would say the opening and ending of that movie are the most maybe the most
Yeah.
iconic.
The opening
like,
gets me. I
Where
love
it's like
watching
just coming in
the
on that
beginning.
skyscraper and
Oh,
that window
dude, that
pops
grapple.
out.
Yep,
It's just like-
dude.
and then I will. I don't know how much I'll get made fun of for this, but I literally tear up at the end in the last 2 minutes of that
Yep.
movie. Like,
Yep.
like it just makes my heart go so fast. And then I'm like, he's the hero. We deserve another
That's why it's number 2 on. he's the hero that I need.
He's the hero that they need. There's so many parts of that, and I really
it almost ruined like DC moving forward because it reached so high, and then everything else just fell.
Well, and that's what I was going to say, because Batman Begins set the table so well for that movie.
It did.
I hate that movie.
It's not bad.
I love that movie.
And the thing that, I can see how people relate Batman Begins to some of the older Batman films. It has a little bit of that
rubber
feeling.
suit.
Yes. And some of the things that they do, it definitely feels that with like steam and smoke and like all the stuff that you're like, all right.
The really exaggerated grossness of Gotham City.
Yes.
What makes that movie so good, though, because it is the beginning, obviously. And so you do have kind of those cringe elements, but then it makes the second movie that much better because he's already developed. He's already kind of in his stride.
And the last one's not bad either. It's just it's riding on the code.
I still like Dark Knight Rises so much.
I like it a lot. Bane is amazing. He's one of the if Joker hadn't been played so well, he would be the best.
Yeah.
He really would, because that whole arc too of just like who the girl was and like that whole, it's just amazing done. All right.
Love it.
Number 6.
So we could skip me for 6 because we just
you talked about okay. We actually talked about this one a little bit. I feel like I'm gonna get the hate. After La La Land, number 6 for me was Anchorman.
Oh my gosh!
Hey, it was honorable mention. So.
Guys,
that's pretty high, dude.
All right.
It is. We talked about that movie just the other day.
Yeah, Anchorman. It's the movie that if I want to just
unplug,
I just go for it. I watched it like a month ago with a buddy of mine in college, and I was just dying every other second, and he was just looking at me like
with the trident.
But the afternoon delight.
Dude, for real. Here's the thing. I can't knock it. I get why that movie makes iconic. Your guys' list. I understand it's totally iconic.
I also get why you make fun of it.
I like when you hear the rest of my list. That's like,
but you don't like comedy.
That's like you going like, I love Big Macs, and I'm like, you're right. They've sold a lot of them. I can't really be mad. And there's a McDonald's on every street corner.
Yeah.
However, dude, filet mignon, bro. Like, what are we doing here? Like, really?
But that is
a big reason it made it on my list was I wanted just a straight up comedy.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wanted, and
it's got to.
I
enjoy the genre. Like, see, when I watch movies, my mindset isn't to sit and stew over it or to be amazed. I want to be entertained. Like, that's why I go to movies. Like,
I want the emotional roller coaster.
You want the coaster.
I want it like all. Like, I want to be wowed. I want to cry. I want to laugh. Really.
I get that. I don't watch movies to laugh, and I know we talked about that a lot. Like, that's one of the biggest things. Where I'm like, I mentioned on the other podcast. I'm like, like one of the things that people like that I just don't are like those types of movies. I'm like, I can watch it.
Yeah,
I can't get it. My number 6, because I think that was your number 6, right? Okay. God, I gotta look. It is Django Unchained. It is the first and only Quentin Tarantino film on my list. But I just rewatched this last night. It just came back on Netflix. It is by far a brutal movie. Oh. Incredibly violent, incredibly vulgar in places. It is Quentin Tarantino. And I mean, he is known for being over the top in his explanations and storytelling. It's just an original screenplay, original story that he wrote with incredible use of music. Follows kind of a black bounty hunter in the South during the slavery trade of 1700s. And it is as brutal as you would expect it. Honest, real. A lot of the things they equate into there really did happen. A lot of the things they show are real things and the brutality behind it. But man, the way that it's like you talked about this restoration, people coming, like that's what it feels like to me. It's almost like going back and like giving a little bit of like justice in those times and like having something work out for a group of people that would have never worked out in the way that he does. And the storytelling and the music, when I watch it, it is absolutely hard to watch in the places that it's supposed to be. And it is absolutely over the top, exciting. This vindication. Mm-hmm. Like this is an amazing moment. movies that do that for me take me through that whole, like, I'm mad at the things I'm supposed to be mad at. I am sad at the things I'm supposed to be sad at. And then I am so happy at the things that are...
Yeah.
That's just a well-done movie to me. And that's what that does so well.
So far, you've had a lot of serious movies.
That's what he does.
You're getting
That's what he does.
That's the tone so far. I feel like, it is a good like play on personality.
If I'm gonna sit down and watch a movie, and that's the funny thing, I'll rewatch that. Like I'll rewatch a whole thing.
Yeah, that sounds like a movie. After I watch, I'm exhausted after I watch it. I'm like, I don't want to go through that again. Like,
see, it felt worth it to me when I get down. That was worth my time.
I'd watch that again. Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
Did that make your list?
I haven't yet. No, it didn't.
Gosh.
These are pretty good lists. Really, we haven't crossed too often.
No, I knew we wouldn't. That's the all right. So number 5.
Like number 3 will get you guys. I'll just throw that out.
Number 5, Jed. Why don't you start us with number
5? Okay, let me count real fast. Where is that? Okay, this is my Tarantino, which I've already gotten made fun of for a little bit.
That's okay.
It's Kill Bill, specifically Volume 1.
Okay.
I know technically, like, they're one movie, but the first one, it's the first Tarantino movie I ever watched. And
it was
yeah. And it, man, it's the only one I've gone back to rewatch so far.
There's only one scene in that movie that I have is when she chops that guy's head off in the board meeting. And like when that chopped off and then the blood like literally squirts for like 6 feet in the air and then lands on the table.
I mean, that's Tarantino.
That's the too much. That's why
it was PG-13, and I remember I was like, they can do that? Like,
dude, that movie is just insane from start to finish. Like,
it is.
I think that's what it's. I don't know.
Is that movie PG-13?
It is.
It's. I don't know. It's. I feel weird on it. I feel weird talking positively about it, honestly. But it's just like,
but it's the same. It's the storytelling. It's Quentin Tarantino. It's bad, and if it's your first time you've ever watched a Tarantino film,
I just remember
polarizing
that last fight scene when she goes in after Lucy Liu's character. I can't remember what her name is, but she goes in and she captures her like right hand woman and like chops her arm off, and then all mayhem just breaks. It's just insane. And like the way like it's like it starts out, I don't even remember what song it is that plays when they start fighting, but it's just like this super poppy upbeat song that everybody knows, and it's like, what is happening? Every time you think the fight's over, it's not, and he introduces another element to keep it fresh and keep you wanting to watch it.
It's like, just like, I mean, that's Quentin Tarantino. He's super violent, over the top, like crazy, but the whole
it goes insane. Yeah, like it's like huge, and she's just decimating everybody, and then all of a sudden it's just her and Lucy Liu in a backyard with swords. It's just like, all right, and you're like, how can she win this? Because she's just killed like 80 people, the crazy 88, and Lucy Liu's just just sat there and watched. So she's fresh, and it's like, oh man, I don't know.
But it's a callback to almost like old school like kung fu movies.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it really is. It's homage to that. That's what Kill Bill's supposed to be, but brought into the modern era. And it really does a good job at that. I can't knock it. I just don't have the nostalgia pull to it. And because it's more fictional, that's what I mean. I don't have the attachment to it. It doesn't have that pull that Django does. Django just feels more like, oh, this really happened, and that's, but I get it.
See, for me, it's just too much. And then like, I would rather watch Jackie Chan if I wanted to see a kung fu film. That's me. And so
Rush Hour, is that on your list?
It'd probably be more Rumble in the Bronx.
Oh, okay. I can get with that.
The other kung fu type movie that almost made it, martial arts film, I should say, that almost made it was The Raid.
Yeah, dude.
Oh man,
that's a great. That's a great Bill film. If you haven't watched that, it's a good one.
I'd probably say Rumble in the Bronx is an honorable mention for me too. That was one of those.
I haven't seen.
I watched it a lot.
That's a good one. It's almost all real stunts by him. That's what makes
it was like his introduction to the United States, and
that's definitely a film, Martine. Yeah. Number 5 for you.
Number 5, Lion King.
Oh my gosh!
So.
Bro, you did it.
That's why
you did it. Everyone was happy with
it.
You.
It was Aladdin or Lion King for me because of all like growing up with Disney movies. And those were like 1 and 2, and depending on the mood, they could switch. So
I get that. I think my kids have ruined all animated movies because I've watched them now so much as an adult.
See, but that's the thing for me. It's still a good movie. It's not ruined. I could watch it tonight.
I can't knock it because I know every part of it and I know every scene. But at the same time, I just would never watch it now.
Yeah. I'd still watch it.
Just like trying to think of animated movies that kind of hold that for me. I don't know if there are any like that, like hold that kind of.
Treasure Planet is the only one that has that style of hold on me.
Yeah.
I think it's that creative, that fun. It has just a great arc.
What about like Toy Story?
Nah, it just doesn't have any of that for me. Like Treasure Planet, I think is because it was such a niche movie. That might have that pull.
Not even the Goofy movie?
Maybe. Like, here's the thing. Like, those types of movies, though, it really comes down to the stage of life I was in.
Yeah.
And, like, it was just, I was homeschooled. I enjoyed it. It was entertainment. And we did it basically to do, like, our own drama classes was what it felt like. You know, you get to pick this role, I get to pick that role. And
yeah. You were Simba, right?
Yeah. All right. Number 5 for me.
Okay.
I want you guys.
I'm not cheating. Don't worry.
And do we need to check the camera at any point? Do we need to make sure this is still going? We good?
I mean, we'll probably do at some point.
Okay. Let me say this.
Yeah, get through there,
okay.
and then we'll probably just even call it. Take a break.
Okay, and then we'll do the final
another 4. Yeah.
Okay. My number 5 is the Fellowship of the Ring.
Lord of the Rings.
The Fellowship
with the Fellowship sticking out.
Just Fellowship.
Just Fellowship of the Ring,
okay.
Bro.
So here's the deal.
Fellowship.
Okay, I won't spoil it.
I'm trying to decide if I want to fight because I can't. I love every single one.
Yeah.
I don't think the Fellowship is at the top.
Oh,
I don't think the Fellowship is at the top.
I literally, if you look at my list, I had Lord of the Rings on there, but it's split between Fellowship and the other one that I chose.
Uh-huh.
And so I love
Fellowship of the Ring is what I love. I love the book. I love everything about it. The introduction of the story, the characters. I just think the movie itself is the best movie.
These movies are on all of our lists then. So you chose Fellowship. Which one did you choose?
I chose Return.
Return?
You chose the series.
You chose Two Towers.
I definitely chose the series. And I literally wrote down Return or the Two Towers.
Yeah.
I can fight for the Two Towers. So that's my number 1 spot. I'll just throw that out there. That's my number 1.
Oh my gosh.
I'll fight that when I get to my number 1.
Okay.
That's my number 1.
That sounds good. That sounds good.
Well, I respect that.
Oh my god.
Number 1.
That's my number 1.
Here's the thing.
But mine is the series with the Two Towers. Yeah.
So Lord of the Rings
more
as a whole, I think we need to go to it. Why I put it at number 5 and why I think it is worth bringing it back.
Too low.
I don't think the movies hold up as well as that.
Are you kidding me right now?
I don't think they hold up as well. I don't think they hold up as well as.
What do you mean hold up? Like
I think the CG and some of the stuff that they tried to do and some of the later films just don't hold up.
It looks better than a lot of stuff that's being released today.
Yeah.
No. Yes, it does.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, it does.
Yes, it does.
No, I think
so
some
good.
of the stuff that when I rewatch, especially Return of the
Also, I just want to throw this out there.
On Two Towers is still really
gorgeous.
Good.
I'll throw this out there. You say CG, they used like
a lot of models.
The way it practical to CG, like practical is like 90%.
Yeah.
CG is like 10.
I'll just say this. I don't watch it and enjoy it as much as I used to.
That makes me so sad.
I know.
A little bit angry.
I know.
I get excited when my kids are old enough that I can watch it with them. It's like a milestone in movies.
I wish I could get there.
The Lord of the Rings trilogy looks far and away better than The Hobbit.
Yeah. Oh, I hate The Hobbit. I hate The Hobbit, but I didn't even put The Hobbit.
Well, yeah, but I'm just saying, like, they had over 10 years on Lord of the Rings, like technology wise, like CG wise, and it looks trash.
I love that they used New Zealand. I think the sites that they used are awesome. I'm not bashing anything they did. I'm just telling you that when I watch them now, what gets lost sometimes is the epicness of the books. Because we're judging movies. We're judging movies.
Let me tell you later about a couple epic moments that are in the movies that aren't in the books, and I will fight you.
I enjoy the movies. It was a tough decision. I
can't believe it's number 5.
I have a personal side of why I did not choose them, and it's because they cannot all be at the top of the list.
Yeah.
So, however, I am not angry that you guys have put them up there.
Remember all the times when we were starting this when he said he was right, and we have
I feel like
2-1
need to
proof
come
that
back
he's
to this.
definitely wrong.
Yeah, whenever we get to one, we'll come back to
Evidently, on the
it.
desert island, they want to watch one series over and over and over again. I'll watch the first one. He can watch the second one. You can watch the third.
I'm fine with that.
I'll watch the best one. All right.
All right. Well, thank you so much for tuning in. We're going to check the film and make sure we'll be back. I know some of you are already mad at us and probably either telling us no.
Screaming at their
Let us know what you
screens.
think about our picks so far. If you disagree, if you would maybe even just reorder some of the lists that we have. If you're like, no, this is the actual real
Shuffle
list.
them up.
Maybe we've missed a movie. Put something on there if we've missed something.
I know I've missed things.
Oh gosh, I've already had like a what about like the La La Land when you said that. I was like, oh, I really like La La Land. Dang it.
I've sat here and thought of a couple of movies. I'm like, I could probably.
But again,
Are we gonna start the next one with more honorable mentions?
yes, we'll start the next section by just saying, all right, if we could redo one pick, what would you do? And then I'll hear your guys' apologies about Lord of the Rings.
I will never.
Ain't gonna happen, Trevor.
Thanks so much for tuning in. You'll get to hear the rest in part 2. I hope you're having a great day and glorious day in the Lord. And we'll see you later.